Oh, yeah, that won't come on.
Hi there. Hey, Sophia.
It just started to rain as I left work.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of a surprise.
Yeah,
Well,
John and I were
Parking
both.
that might have been for us is all barricaded off.
I bet she'll have it.
Except for the people that are parked in those stalls.
Ride that thing.
You know, the city is buying the log cabin.
Good.
It hasn't been announced yet.
I have to stay.
Good.
Corey,
Yeah, and probably the,
you have to use that microphone.
Pride kickoff
you're
tonight.
talking.
No, you have your, no.
Yes,
you
I am.
Oh,
because
good,
Rick
Rich,
was
yeah,
reading.
and I am too.
You are?
Yeah.
What parts do you have?
Well, John Laird,
Folks,
and
I'm calling us to order.
and then some other, no, other part, but other little letters.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am calling to order the May 22nd meeting of the Senior Advisory Board of West Hollywood, and John Allendorfer will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and
and
justice
for all.
Thank you.
Let's see who's here. Let's do a roll call, starting over there with Esther Baum.
Okay, I'm going to do the roll call. Esther Baum,
Here.
Sophia Gelman,
Here.
Lee Walkup,
Here.
John Allendorfer,
Here.
Joy Newell,
Here.
Pat Dixon,
Here.
William McNeely,
here,
and Michael Hollingsworth.
Here.
I would like to ask if any of my colleagues have adjournment motions this month. John?
Yeah, I would like to adjourn in memory of two great entertainers of our times, Tim Conway and Doris Day. They really made a lot of us very, very happy.
Wonderful people. Okay.
and I'd like to adjourn the memory of the young man that was found in the vehicle on Palm or Larrabee that was deceased. It was yesterday or day before.
Thank you, Bill. I think that's it. And now
I have one adjournment motion. This is for the President Emeritus of the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles. He was a first-night member. He was the founding president. His name was Craig Woodbury, and he was known to everyone as Carol Ann.
Okay, for Carol Ann. May I have an approval of the agenda for today's meeting?
I make a motion.
A second.
Lots of seconds, okay.
And let's go down and do the roll.
Lori's in charge of roll call.
Just say yes or no for the approval of the agenda. Esther Baum,
Yes.
Sophia Gelman,
Yes.
Lee Walkup,
Yes.
Yes, yes.
John Allendorfer,
Yes.
Joy Newell,
Yes.
Pat Dixon,
Yes.
Bill McNeely,
Yes,
and Michael Hollingsworth.
Yes.
And now I need approval of minutes for our April 24th meeting. So,
So moved.
second,
okay. And now roll
And
call
We'll
again.
do the roll call, yeah. Esther Baum.
Esther Baum.
Oh, just yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
It's for the approval of the minutes.
Yes.
Great. Sophia Gelman,
Yes.
Lee Walkup,
Yes.
John Allendorfer,
Yes.
Joy Newell,
Yes.
Pat Dixon,
Yes.
Bill McNeely,
yes.
and Michael Hollingsworth.
Yes.
We are going to talk for a moment about what our participation in Senior Advisory Board means to us. And since we started down there this afternoon, Esther,
All
Let's
right.
start with you.
One of the things that I promoted a good many years ago, and is no longer happening, but I think it would be good if it was a discount for seniors at restaurants and businesses in West Hollywood. And I got the idea because the city of Santa Monica had it for its businesses, and that it said so in the yellow pages. So as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, I spoke to them, and they were in favor of it, and the senior board was in favor, and the city, and they printed up, the city did little IDs that any senior could come to City Hall or phone in and get this, that showed the business that you were a senior. And a good many of the restaurants and businesses in West Hollywood gave seniors discounts of different amounts, some of them every day of the week and some only on certain days. But I think it was very successful and very helpful to seniors, and I would like to see it reinstated.
Thank you, Esther. Sophia, you're up.
Okay. You know, I have 6 great-grandchildren, and I wrote for them a poem to make them be persistent to achieve their goals. The poem is Beyond and Behind. Beyond is always searching for everything new. It is curious, but has its point of view. Behind criticizes it, tries to pursue, and even takes them to the court and sues. To say something unusual, Beyond is not ashamed. Its mind works constantly to avoid doing the same. Beyond is an inventor, a hero, a pioneer. Behind is a coward who frightened nobody if nobody is here near. When Behind asks tiredly, "Let us stop and rest," Beyond considers wisely only a strong effort does the best. While Behind is walking in the east, Beyond is running to the west. It is digging deep or flying high to find a scientific zest. Beyond's ideas are intelligent and bright. They deserve to win because they are right. Although they seem unreal, unsolvable, assigned to be thrown, miraculously their importance has grown. Beyond, you are my leader, my spirit, my light. I am proud of you. I'll follow you blindly and even fight. You can count on me. I am on your side, so don't worry. Hold on with all your might.
Lee.
Yes, my name is Lee Walkup, and I'm a member of the Senior Advisory Board for 8 years. I've lived in the city of West Hollywood for 27, and I urge everyone within the shadow of my voice to take an interest in the city. Realize that this is a unique and a creative city. I just recently got some new license plate frames on my car, whoopee-doo, but they say West Hollywood, the creative city. And this is the creative city, and you too can be a part of it if you're not regularly participating in city council meetings, performances, events, and the things that make this a unique and wonderful city that attracts 35,000 people in 1.9 square miles. Thank you.
John Allendorfer.
Hi, I'm John Allendorfer. I was appointed to the senior board in September of 2015. And since then, my service on the SAB board has shown my consistent love and support for the city and now for its seniors. And to put into action ideas that come forth from our meetings, like, for example, the successful Seniors in Action. Also, serving on the board as a chairperson and vice chair has taught me to assume a leadership role and to carry out that position faithfully. And on a very personal note, I've made some great friends on the board, staff, to the public. It's a good feeling to know that you're helping a senior, maybe with housing needs, meals, transportation, in so many areas of their lives, and that one is never too old to be of service. And thus the board has allowed me to do that. Seniors, we're living much longer. And through the Senior Advisory Board, hopefully I and my fellow board members can help them live a life of quality and value. Thank you.
My name is Joy Newell. I can't see any of you out there, but I know you're there. I've been a resident of West Hollywood for 40 years. That makes me a resident since before West Hollywood was West Hollywood. I'm still here. I'm still delighted to be here. And as a matter of fact, coincidentally, the three of us, Pat Dixon, Joy Newell, and John Allendorfer, are the three who gave birth to Seniors in Action, an activity program for older people. Being older is not easy. So any help we can get, we are very appreciative of. Joy Newell will, until her dying day, be fighting for affordable housing in West Hollywood. The problem I have is that what's affordable to me is not what's affordable to lots of landlords. C'est la vie. But we keep up the fight, we keep up the discussion. Pat.
Thank you. I wrote a little something. Just a brief bio. I moved to California many years ago from New York City for what seemed like a good reason at the time, but I can't really remember what it was. It went something like this. Two friends were driving from New York City to California and asked me if I wanted to join them. My son at the time was living with his dad in Boulder Creek, so I jumped in the car seriously with a small suitcase with a bikini, never wore it again, and drove out. It really was beshared or meant to be, since my life took a glorious turnaround after I settled in LA. My son and I lived in the Fairfax district until I moved to West Hollywood after he went off to college and the rest of his life. My career, such as it was, had many iterations, one of which was caterer, but ultimately I ended up working at the studios and was able to retire from 20th Century Fox. I also never thought I'd get older and have to deal with the changes, both physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual, that aging gives us. And I think that is one of the reasons I joined the board. I needed role models to navigate the stormy seas of arthritis, frail bones, and new parts of my body. I watched with wonder the many members of the board who predated me and who no longer are able to serve. My friend Barbara Krupa took me to some SAB meetings, and when there was an opening, she suggested I apply. If one has to age gracefully, I don't think there's a better place than West Hollywood. We have so many resources to help us and to honor, and I honor the powers that be at West Hollywood Social Services, the Jewish Family Services that inform and provide some of the benefits. Aging in place sounds very idealistic, and while we have not gotten there yet, I respect our journey, and I think it's incumbent upon the residents of West Hollywood in general, and the aging population in particular, to see that we continue on this journey. My son keeps asking me to move up north, but I think living there is not going to work out for me. Honestly, I feel loved in West Hollywood. There's no better feeling than walking up the aisles of pavilions and stopping to see and chat with people I know, or sitting, as I did with my friend Marion 2 weeks ago, in front of an ice cream shop on Santa Monica Boulevard, and seeing Michael Zanelli, who joined us, and soon we were a table of 4 or 5 discussing everything from movies to politics. I am grateful to David, Leslie, Corey, and Kim for all they do. We wouldn't be able to serve if it wasn't for their incredible guidance. Yes. Thank you for attending today.
And on to Bill McNeely.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill McNeely. I moved to West Hollywood 29 years ago. Excuse me. Need water? And I absolutely love it. When I was working, I didn't do that much with the city. I just loved the city, loved living here a few blocks from here. And when I had time, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I joined the Senior Advisory Board, and I'm really glad I did. I encourage people to join any board or get involved with the city in any way they can. Instead of sitting home and complaining about the price of tickets or traffic or whatever, if you get involved with the city, you'll find out why those things happen and why things are the way they are and how much the city tries to make everything to run and be the best it can. I remember years ago, I had a good friend who kept complaining about the traffic and so on and so forth, and I said to him, well, why don't you get involved and join one of the boards about traffic and find out why? And he did. And he told me how sometimes the lights are timed to slow down traffic to discourage more traffic from going through West Hollywood, which made a lot of sense. So I've learned a lot of things like that. And with senior living, I've learned a lot. We've taken tours of the affordable housing, senior housing, which is incredible. I pointed out a building to a woman that's lived here for 25 years. She's seen many times, and yesterday pointed out, said, you know, that's affordable housing. It was on La Brea. She said, I had no idea. If you're not involved with the city, you don't know what the city's doing for seniors, for youth, for homeless, and everybody else that lives here and visits here. The city's also very interested in tourists and making them comfortable and happy to be here, because that's one of the main reasons that we are here and survive on the income from the hotel tax, I would assume. So I encourage people to join the board, get involved with the city. The staff that works with us is just incredible, and I've met obviously all the council members, got involved in elections and everything else. I'll be here tonight again for an event they're doing here for kickoff Gay Pride Month, and I had no idea there were so many events in this particular room that I have enjoyed very, very much. Thank you very much.
Michael Hollingsworth.
My name is Michael Hollingsworth, and I've been on the Senior Advisory Board about a year, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And when I moved to West Hollywood in 1978, I was a junior, and now I'm a senior, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the city grow and the changes that have happened. For instance, I shop at the pavilions. It used to be a Safeway, and I watched the fruit and vegetable section grow. But anyway, that's just progress. But I have been here a long time, and I started my catering business out of a little apartment on Havenhurst Drive, and then I had it in the basement of St. Victor's Church in their commercial kitchen for 17 years. And I've done many events here, and I've met so many fascinating people. And last Wednesday, I attended the senior fair as part of the board, and with these wonderful people I serve with. And it was amazing to see what was available to seniors and what they were offering and how to keep for your health and your well-being and things like. There was a wonderful lady we met named Donna who has a telephone that's available to all seniors that that's free and has hearing in case your hearing is impaired, and also for your eyesight with big numbers, and just little things like that that make the quality of life so much better. And I attended the opening night of the Pacific Design Center in 1975. And then I attended the opening of Studio One in 1975. And there's been, and you know, the city has just continued to grow. And if you look around and see what's really been accomplished here in this few square miles, and the fantastic and fascinating people that live here that have, with such wonderful stories, whether it be in entertainment or business or the arts, and what they have contributed to this city. And I'm so grateful to be a member here and know that what's available to me as I get older. And I still feel like a junior, by the way. Thank you very much.
We have a couple of requests from members of the public to come and talk to us about items on the agenda or items of general interest. And being a chair with a gavel, I'm going to give you 3 minutes each. Let's start with David Breed. David, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and congratulations on such a successful day and successful meeting. Today would have been Harvey Milk's 89th birthday, certainly a senior. He never saw that because he was killed when he was 48 years old. An assassin's bullet likely, well, without question, because he was a proud gay man. And while this isn't the Gay Senior Advisory Board, it's certainly a hard fact to ignore in West Hollywood that a large portion of our city are lesbian and gay and transgender and celebratory people about their life. They're proud. And pride is something Harvey Milk stressed. He was probably the champion of coming out of the closet. And the joy that brings to anyone that has made that step, that has admitted to themselves that they are lesbian or gay, is just huge. And we need more help in doing that for people. And one of those that could happen here in the city, a very concrete thing, is to incorporate more pride in our city. And one place that absolutely would be special to do that is here in this very park. And by doing that, by changing the name from West Hollywood Park to West Hollywood Pride Park. And by doing that, every time somebody were to Google the park, to look it up on the internet and see it on a map, the word pride pops up there. It would serve as a welcome mat to people everywhere, not just in the city, but those surfing the web and checking it out. In fact, if it were to happen here, who knows that it wouldn't spread to other cities to let them know. Now, pride isn't exclusively an LGBT thing. Pride's a human thing, something that we, as humans, should take in ourselves of whoever we are and whatever we do. It would be a first to do that, and for being a creative city, this would be a great place to do that. The suggestion is maybe the Senior Advisory Board takes this football and runs with it and puts this showcase of pride out there. After all, it is the center of pride in West Hollywood Park. But that's it. As we launch Pride Month tonight, today, and all the way through June 30th, we need to think how strong we want to embrace pride in this city, and perhaps rebranding this soon-to-be extravagant park West Hollywood Pride Park. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Diane Kahn Epstein, a familiar face. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and Vice Chair and board members and staff and community. My name's Diane Kahn Epstein. I'm in the Strategic Initiatives Division. And as you know, can you hear me? No. As you know, better?
There you go.
We're in the third year of our Aging in Place strategic initiatives, and as I've come to the last couple of meetings, we're in the final stages of collecting our surveys, and I wanted to ask one more time, as ambassadors to our community and to ask our community here, to complete the surveys. We're trying to find out how Aging in Place is working, what we could improve, and the survey's available online. And out in the foyer, you'll find how to log on if you wanted to try to do that through your computer, or there are copies in English and in Russian. So we're hoping that people will complete them. There are 9 more days to do so. The final day is May 31st, which is a Friday. And people can come to City Hall, which is kind of center city. You can come here to the park. In the library, we have surveys, or at Plummer Park. And hoping everyone will take the time to do so, and we appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Diane, I finally filled out my survey. Now, if only I had brought it today. I'll get it to you.
Joy and members of the SAB, if you could speak close to the mic, just so people can hear a little bit better, you got to get kind of close to them. And also, I just want to mention, because we didn't have a chance right after you spoke, on behalf of Leslie and I and David and social services in the city, we want to thank you for your service, and thank you so much for talking about how much SAB has meant to you. You're all dedicated, hardworking, you show up to things, you're funny. We really enjoy working with you as well. And I also wanted to mention, I know we talked about it at the last meeting, but Bernice Levin was a member of our board for probably 20 years until March was her last meeting. So I wanted to have a chance to acknowledge Bernice on the camera as well, because she served us for a long time. So thank you.
I have spoken with Bernice, and she is doing well. I think a couple of us have checked in with her, and Yes, we miss her. We miss her wonderful face and charming demeanor. And we're going to move from public comment on to new business, and that means I get the pleasure of inviting some of our council members, our West Hollywood City Council members, who are usually sitting where we're sitting. Mayor Pro Tem Lindsay Horvath is with us, Lauren Meister is with us, and John Duran is with us. Welcome to all three of you. I don't know if you're speaking individually, if you're speaking as a group, but I know you've got work to do.
And we
Well,
all,
it is my honor and pleasure to be here with you for Senior Month, for Older Adults Month, for all of the work that you do today, this month, and all year long. We know that you work so hard to make sure that our older residents in West Hollywood, our senior residents, some of you have mentioned how long you've been here, even before it was a city, and the indelible mark that you have left on our community is so visible, it's so real, and it's something that we feel very deeply in the community, and we are grateful for you. As you mentioned, we are joined today by Councilmember John Duran and Councilmember Lauren Meister. I know Councilmember Heilman is working today, and our mayor is representing us in Germany, speaking about our leadership role in greening our community and sustainability practices, and we're very glad that he's representing us there. But on behalf of the whole City Council, we want to thank you very much for all that you do every day and for the leadership that you show in our community, sharing your stories and helping inspire other people to get involved, to be engaged, to let their voices be heard is so important. We need to hear from people at all ages, all stages of life, whatever experience you're having. And I know that you make that space available here every month for people to come. So not just today because you're on TV, but all year long, you make this space available, and we thank you for that.
Lindsay, I understand that aside from your gratitude, that you have a presentation that you would like to make this afternoon.
I would love to do so if that's okay with you, Madam Chair.
That is what I would delight in.
Very good. Well, I know that this is something that was specially selected by our Senior Advisory Board and on behalf of our whole community to make this very special presentation today to Carol Cook and Tom Troop. Carol Cook and Tom Troop are longtime residents of the city of West Hollywood who have been married since 1964 and are both in their 90s.
Wow.
God bless us with such long lives. Carol and Tom have a long history of supporting various AIDS organizations and regularly participated in the annual Los Angeles Stage Southland Theater Artists Goodwill Event benefit, which raised money for numerous HIV/AIDS services for over 30 years. Wow. In addition, Carol and Tom were active in other AIDS benefits that took place in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Palm Springs. Carol received the Stage Benefits Producers Award and the Hero in the Fight Against AIDS Award from the Richmond Ermet AIDS Foundation, REEF. In their professional lives, Carol and Tom are legendary veterans of stage, television, and film. In addition to their individual work, they have been affectionately called the Luntz of LA Theater, having appeared in numerous productions together, including The Gin Game and The Lion in Winter. In 2002, they received a joint honorary Los Angeles Ovation Award for Lifetime Career Achievement, the first husband and wife to be so honored. And at 95, Carol continues to tour in her highly acclaimed one-woman show, Dress Up. I don't think I could do that now, let alone at 95. How impressive. Carol and Tom are beloved members of the community who have impacted countless lives through their generosity and heartfelt commitment to those in need. And in addition to being honored by the city of West Hollywood, I understand, is it tomorrow also, that they will be honored by Los Angeles County as well for their remarkable service and leadership. So today we are honored to present them with this year's West Hollywood Senior Award. Congratulations and thank you to you both.
Thank you. Oh, to be 90 again. Oh, I wish one person would stand up and say, I can't believe that. I'll pay you, you'll be in the will.
Carol was, she was 12 when we were married, and I was arrested. And I told that the other night someplace, and there was a young girl sitting there with about 5 or 6 elderly people, and I told them, they laughed. And when I said she was 12, the girl said, really? I mean, she really believed it.
I said, yes, I filled out early, as my grandmother would say. I said, it's all right because we're from Kentucky and we're brother and sister also. But I don't know, half the audience is here and half of them are behind my ass. Are we all right back there? I have a theater voice, it's all right. But I cannot tell you how honored we are for this honor. We've always lived in West Hollywood, so knowing my age, I'm 95, and my husband is my toy boy. He's 90. Okay. My goodness, I've outlived my skin. All right. It is wonderful to be here. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I will say, my love affair started with West Hollywood in 1960. I know half of you are going, I wasn't even born then. Okay. But 1960, when Lucille Ball brought me out here, I became her protege. I drop her name so you'll know I am a class act, in case you wondered. Okay. And I must say, Tom and I married in '64, and we married here at the West Hollywood Little Baptist Church on Cynthia, and I lived only on Robertson, Burton Way, Doheny, and now Ashcroft. So you see, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool West Hollywood. And you have too. You lived on Palm.
I came out here in 1958, and I had a little house behind the car wash on Palm. I paid, I think, $55 a month for it. And then we moved into a wonderful house on Doheny Drive.
Oh, no, we didn't. Because when you lived on Palm, you lived with your first wife.
Well,
her name was Crazy Sally. Okay.
Well, 55 a month is what I call affordable housing.
Anyway, and we started working with different things here in West Hollywood, and I think we've done enough bingo parties to make money for the West Hollywood community. We've done drag shows. A lot of people think I'm in drag, and we've done auctions. And in 1984, Tom and I devoted our time almost primarily to AIDS. And I did a show with Tom's help. He was on the committee. And for 33 years, we did a show called Stage. And we did it for 33 years. I've and we did it here in West Hollywood, or the environs. You were the people that came, and hopefully the people that we serviced. And West Hollywood has been fabulous, right, Tom?
I feel so blessed to have come here. My son, who's 60, was born here, and I really feel like I lived here forever. And even though I spent a lot of time in New York, but I love this community, and I'm so proud of all of you, and to be a part of it is really wonderful.
Thank you for everything. We have loved it. It's been fabulous, and we're not going anywhere. I have another 33 years to do. Thank you. Thank you for the honor. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Could we have, if anybody wants to take the pictures, maybe have them come up to the center? And we also have Melissa Koffler from Assemblymember Richard Bloom's office who has a certificate. So maybe if you wouldn't mind coming to center, and if any of friends want to take photos, we'll take a moment and let them do that.
Council members Meister, Duran, thank you so much for joining in the honoring ceremony. Yes, good. Good. Yeah, oh,
Thank you all
definitely.
so much. It's a great honor. We love you. We love West Hollywood. It's home. I've turned it into Abilene, Texas. Thank you.
I feel so proud of being here. When I look around and I see all these people who I know and love, I never would have met if I hadn't come here. And I'm forever thankful for that. Thank you.
Oh, all right.
Do we carry this?
Yeah, why don't you bring those up?
Here, let me put this down. Should I hold that or?
Yeah.
This is a photo op, darlings.
Photo op.
Carol, I'll have you know.
SAB members, would you like to stand up behind, and we'll get a couple of you as well?
The Nuremberg trial. Carol, we were all born before yes, before 1960.
I think you're good. We're going to get a couple more in there. Okay, I think I got everybody. 1, 2, 3.
With these lights, I may look like Margot when she left Shangri-La.
All right.
This is gorgeous. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to know.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I want to know how come at 95 that hair is
Well, I have enough Lucille Ball hair dye left.
Oh. I think.
I need to eat healthy. This is ridiculous. I've got to eat healthy. He said, how old are you? I said, 95. He said, you eat healthy, you'll be dead tomorrow.
I also want to congratulate Carol and Tom. I never realized that Carol and Tom lived in West Hollywood West neighborhood until this past year when I was walking, for the election, and John D'Amico and I knocked on their door, not knowing, and Tom came to the door and he said, Carol would come to the door, but she, what were you doing, Carol? So anyway, congratulations, and we appreciate all that you've done. So thank you. And we want to thank you for everything that you've done on the Senior Advisory Board, and let you know that, you know, your job on that board is actually more important every year. I'm a member of, well, actually, I am on a committee for the Southern California Association of Governments, which is called SCAG. SCAG. Everyone likes to say that. And one of the things that we learned is that over the next 15 years, 65% of the population growth in this region will be age 65 plus. And what that means is that services for older adults, what we provide in terms of housing, in terms of healthcare, in terms of transportation, is just going to, you know, be much more of a focus for older adults. And I hope that you will be looking at that as you move forward. I think you know that we are very concerned about housing in the city, and we have put forward a number of initiatives recently about affordable housing. Councilmember Duran just recently put something forward about legal assistance for people with issues with housing, and the mayor talked about you know, helping those who are at the poverty level or below on various, you know, on housing, on food, on health care. And so these are our, you know, these are important to us. These are our priorities. And as we see that this segment of the population is going to continue to grow and actually outgrow other age segments, we really need to focus on that. So we need you now more than ever. So keep up the good work and keep going. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members of the Senior Advisory Board, first let me congratulate Carol Cook and Tom. I usually see them holding court at Café de Troyes. It's nice to see you somewhere other than Café de Troyes.
That's our cheers.
Yeah, that's the cheers of West Hollywood Café de Troyes. So congratulations to both of you. I just wanted to take a moment and maybe just hit on a couple of policy issues because that's something that I think you've all been called upon to do here. Many, if not all of you, have been here since the beginning of the city, in the beginning of cityhood. And if you'll recall, when the city was incorporated in 1984, all of the naysayers said that West Hollywood would never make it. It would never be able to continue to exist. It didn't have an economic base, didn't have the ability to support itself. The county was going to have to take it back within a matter of 5 years. And those were the predictions when we got started in 1984. Obviously, we've proved them all wrong, and we've shown that, in fact, this little 1.9 square mile of 35,000 souls could do some really incredible things when called upon to come together. But we now find ourselves in this predicament that we are, in some ways, a victim of our own success. Because of the desirability of West Hollywood, so many that want to live here, work here, play here, it has become a magnet for all of Southern California, and just about everybody wants to have a West Hollywood address. And those market forces are producing incredible pressure on the community. Cost of housing is going up. Cost of commercial real estate is going up. It's a matter of supply and demand, limited supply, high demand. Economics basically teaches us prices go up. So we are now confronted with the problem that we have created such a successful city that it is becoming unaffordable for so many of not only of our residents, but also our historic, iconic businesses that have been in place a very long time. It's a challenge for all of us to figure out how to grapple with this. Councilmember Meister mentioned, and I want to thank my colleagues, one of the issues that we're now considering is providing attorneys or free legal attorney service to people who are being possibly evicted or threatened with eviction from their apartments. Most of the people who end up in the unlawful detainer court are seniors who can't afford to hire an attorney for $2,000 or $2,500. And a landlord who is unscrupulous knows that if that tenant is displaced, he or she can triple or quadruple the amount of rent that they're getting. So there's an incredible amount of economic pressure that's occurring on our seniors right now that would render them either homeless or displaced to a place in the Inland Empire or Lancaster or Palmdale or somewhere where they can afford their $1,100 a month rent. You certainly can't get an $1,100 a month apartment in West Hollywood any longer. So that is one of the issues that council's looking at and considering, is how to provide attorneys so that seniors and others who go into the unlawful detainer and the eviction courts have representation by their side. Otherwise, it's not a fair or an even playing field, and the landlord or the person with the attorney is always going to win, and that's what we're seeing. So we're trying to get ahead of that. The other issue that I'd like to invite you to consider looking at, and Human Services staff, there's a generation, and you know, and I think Carol and Tom mentioned them lovingly. There's a generation of gay men primarily, but gay men and their straight allies who've been in West Hollywood for 30 or 40 years, who are aging in their rent-controlled apartments, who have suffered some degree of post-traumatic syndrome disorder. Those of us who walked through the worst of the AIDS epidemic in this community saw and witnessed such terrible events and such incredible loss. I know I lived at 943 Westbourne for many years, and during the AIDS epidemic, everybody in that building died, in all 15 units, except the little old Jewish lady who lived next to me and me. Everybody else was lost in the epidemic. And to be in our 20s and 30s and to witness such incredible loss and pain, I think most of us have just pushed it to the back burner to not think about. What's happening now is ghosts are coming back, spirits are coming back, memories are coming back as this population reaches 70, 60, 70, 80 years old. Suddenly the ghosts of the past are returning. And the response is isolation, addiction, all sorts of bad social challenges, where we have a community of people who are so traumatized by what happened in this community's history that they're shrinking back into their rent-controlled apartments, fearful that if they even lose that, they'll lose everything. That's a challenge for all of us, and how do we reach out to these people who walked through the 80s and 90s in this community, get them to get out of their apartments, get them to reconnect with community, get them to see that their lives are valuable and that their experiences and their memories, even as painful as they may be of some use to others, especially younger people who don't have an understanding of where their community's history has come from. Why not take full advantage of those memories of those seniors who are isolated to get them out and reconnect with other generations, to tell them they come from good stock. That here in West Hollywood, confronted with epidemic, confronted with plague, confronted with drama and trauma, we responded as a community of people, gay and straight together, seniors, Russian-speaking. As a community of people, we confronted the worst crisis that our community had ever faced and came out even stronger for it. Just some of the ideas I want to throw out to you all. I know you all spend a lot of time doing this, but I think that's something that we're seeing right now, is that we have a community of people out there who are shrinking back instead of stepping forward, and how do we reach them? So thank you again for your service to the city of West Hollywood, especially here on this board. And I want to thank our staff, of course, for everything that they do. And congratulations again to Carol and to Tom. Thank you.
And your efforts on behalf of this wonderful city. I'm going to hand the meeting over to someone we can't live without. Leslie Eisenberg, you're up.
Thank you. That's a daunting introduction, but I'll take it. Good afternoon, Senior Advisory Board members. I simply wanted to take a few minutes on today's agenda to provide a little overview of everything you have done this week for your benefit and the benefit of folks in the audience and folks at home, to have a good sense of everything that was accomplished during Senior Month 2019. We kicked off Senior Month with a short film series. Many of you will remember that was on May 1st. We showed two films right in this room, Carry Tiger to Mountain and Lives Well Lived. It was a wonderful turnout, and two really wonderful films that were relevant to aging and aging in place, and and the importance of paying attention to the needs of an older adult community and the needs of people who are becoming more isolated as they age. And I want to talk about Seniors in Action in a little bit too, but I did want to just mention that that's how we kicked off Senior Month. Last week we had our Senior Health Fair. It was our 18th annual Senior Health Fair. And I'd like to give a little bit of data about the Senior Health Fair, kind of the Senior Health Fair by numbers, so that you have a sense of how many people were served and to what extent they were served. We estimated approximately 400 people attended last week's Senior Health Fair. And the Senior Health Fair, by the way, was co-sponsored by Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Jewish Family Service, Independence at Home, and the Saban Community Clinic. Among those 400 people who attended the Senior Health Fair, 147 of them had a screening for blood glucose to test for diabetes. 155 attendees had their blood pressure checked. 27 people were assessed for breast cancer. 37 people received a dental screening. 29 people received a skin cancer screening. 94 people were screened for stroke and thyroid. 147 people received a screening for cholesterol. 35 people saw a podiatrist, and 40 people had their hearing checked. And that was all in a 3-hour span. So I would hope that you feel very proud of what was accomplished where the screenings were concerned. As you know, we had about 40 organizations also at Plummer Park that day that were providing information on the services that they provide for seniors living in West Hollywood. All in all, it was a really fantastic event. Today is another significant day for Senior Month because, as is obvious, we televise this meeting. We honor outstanding seniors in our community, and we generally call attention to the great work that the board is doing. And today is what I look at as our penultimate event for Senior Month. Penultimate meaning the second to last, and the last is next Tuesday. And that is our Seniors in Action event. This is a gathering that has been happening monthly since last year when we launched it as a pilot program. And I want to give a tip of my hat to John Allendorfer and Pat Dixon for coming up with the idea of bringing people together, and Joy Newell as well, bringing people together who might be experiencing isolation in their own homes. And the Seniors in Action gatherings have really served to begin to address that by bringing people together to have conversation and to view a TED Talk and have a meaningful conversation and activity around what is being discussed at those monthly gatherings. A good 20 to 25 people attend each month. And I just wanted to thank you for launching that, for having that idea, and for seeing it through to its successful first year of completion. So congratulations on another successful Senior Month, and look forward to Senior Month 2020.
I noticed that one group present at the Senior Health Fair this year was PAWS, and being an animal person, I was so delighted to see that, since animals are so important in everyone's life, but for older people, maybe particularly so. So as chair, I took that time to make that statement. Thanks for the rundown on all those served. Boy, we really should be proud of that event. I'm sure we are. So moving along, thank you, Leslie.
My pleasure.
I will move on to item 9C. Mikey, are you here? You are. I see a paper rising. So we're going to move into Senior Stories, WeHo.
Joy,
And yes,
can I say a quick word about Senior Stories WeHo?
you may.
Yeah. Senior Stories WeHo is a publication of writings that we've been doing for, it's over 10 years, from seniors in the community. And we get some wonderful submissions, and we're going to have 3 of them read throughout the meeting today. And the first one is by Mikey Friedman, who is also on our Disabilities Advisory Board, which will be meeting tonight. So she's doing double duty, coming to read here, then she goes to the other meeting. So welcome, Mikey.
Thank you.
Just a typical West Hollywoodite doing double duty.
That's right.
Good for you.
Good afternoon, Chair Newell and board members, wonderful staff, and community members. I saw you for the first time at the Pump Room over 40 years ago when you put on a show.
Wow.
And you were wonderful then, and you're wonderful now. This year marks the 25th anniversary of my becoming an amputee. 1 month after my 50th birthday, I was diagnosed with a rare and deadly cancer, a myxoid chondrosarcoma. And in order to save my life, my left or dominant arm and shoulder were amputated on July 27th, 1994. I was kept at USC University Hospital for a month to heal and to receive therapy. And the first thing they did was they put a clipboard and a pen in my hand and said, "Start writing, because now you're going to become right-handed." So for some reason, all I could do was write poems. I don't know why, but only poems came out. Now, the following poem started out in my mind to be funny, but I found that by the end of it, I was crying, and I still do sometimes when I read it. 18 years after I lost my arm, the tumor came back in my lung, and I had the lower right lobe and bronchial vein of my lung removed. But I wrote another poem about that experience, which I won't bore you with today. A happy ending to the story is that 25 years later, I'm still here, and I'm so pleased to say that I'm trying to give back. So my poem is called 332, Bed A. The PT's here to walk with me, she says, to start my day. The chart says, work on exercise with 332, Bed A. The OT helps me wash my clothes and fold and put them away. The chart says, help with life skills for 332, Bed A. 2 speech folks come with Wechsler tests. They grade each word I say. The chart says, check the mental skills of 332, Bed A. Nutritionists are next in line. They ask how much I weigh. The chart says, count the calories of 332, Bed A. The RT wants to play a game. I tell him, not today. The chart says, check the attitude of 332, Bed A. This long parade of therapists who'll never know the way it feels to live without an arm in 332, Bed A. Thank you.
We'll go on to item 9D. Mandy Carpenter, where are you? You're going to fill us in on senior activities. There you are. Now I see you.
Oh, it's very bright up here. Hello, everybody. My name is Mandy, and I'm the manager of the Arts, Wellness, and Engagement Program at Jewish Family Service LA. I'll be stepping in for Valentina today. Valentina could not be here today because she is at her citizenship ceremony, but she sends her regards. This month also marks Valentina's 1-year anniversary with JFS as the activity coordinator at West Hollywood Comp, and we are all so happy with what she has accomplished so far in this last year. Over the last month, we have had outings to Toscano Gardens. We went to a play called Old Jews Telling Jokes. We also participated in a brunch and learn at Cedars-Sinai and visited St. Sophia Greek Cathedral and had lunch at Papa Christo's. This was the first time we partnered with Cedars-Sinai for one of their lunch and learns, and it was a great success. The beautiful facility, the tasty lunch, the great lecture on hands-only CPR made for a very interactive and informative afternoon. Our next trips are Eichmann Ballet, which is sold out, and one of our most anticipated trips this quarter. Aquarium of the Pacific, which is also sold out. We will be seeing the first major expansion ever undertaken by the aquarium, so we're really excited about this. And lastly, we'll be going to see Disney's Beauty and the Beast at La Mirada Theater, which is also sold out. We had a full iPhone workshop in April, which was great, and we will have another Android workshop on June 25th. Both of those are led by California Telephone Organization. And also last month, another thing you guys did for Senior Month was the smartphone series. So last month we partnered with the City of West Hollywood in their smartphone training, and that was really a great success. Who was there? John was there. I don't have the details, but Monica partnered with a local high school, correct? Do you know
Right,
what
yeah.
high school?
We were being coached by the teenagers there. So it was a good combination of the teenagers were teaching us how to better use our phones.
Yep. And then Valentino and another were there to help translate into Russian. So,
Yeah, right, for the Russian-speaking community.
So fingers crossed we're going to continue to partner with West Hollywood to do more smartphone and technology trainings. May 16th, for Senior Month, we offered a free workshop called Balance It Up with Caesar, which brought in many new faces to Plummer Park, which we were really excited about. I think the last one is next week.
And one is tomorrow as well.
Oh, it's tomorrow. So is it Thursdays? It's
Yes, it's tomorrow, and then it's next week.
Have you been going, Joy?
It is on my calendar for tomorrow and for next week.
Well, Caesar would love to see you. And May 16th was National Honor Our LGBT Elders Day. We celebrated with LGBT older adults, families, and allies. We honored those who personally worked hard to gain the rights and social acceptance for themselves and their loved ones. We had lunch, and everyone shared their stories. It was a very intimate, lovely event. The next lectures we are excited about are our Father's Day Remembrance, and then also a performance by Arnold Weiss called 3 by Chekhov. And a little bit about Seniors in Action. So our Seniors in Action group is just going so well. It's really a joy to go there every month. And our next one is this coming Tuesday, and it's up in the West Hollywood Library. It's the fourth Tuesday of every month at 2 o'clock. Just one last thing, our art classes are still going strong. The Art of Elysium is planning their annual art festival, and they will be displaying projects that our participants made. It's kind of almost like kimono-like. They sewed these kind of outfits and they decorated them and painted them, so they're going to be showing them at their annual festival.
Mandy, before you go anywhere, and although she cannot hear us, I would like us on the board to acknowledge with a round of applause welcoming Valentina as a new citizen of this country. Yay! So Valentina?
When she got the call and said, Mandy, I can't go on Wednesday, I have my ceremony. I said, no, go to the ceremony. I will be there for you. We're very happy.
Thank you.
So thank you all. And I just, on a personal note, have really enjoyed getting to know all of you and the staff and the community of West Hollywood. It's been a real joy for me, so thank you.
Thank you. And now we're moving on to item 9E. We are going to hear from our Captain Edward Ramirez, our captain of the sheriffs. I don't see you, but that doesn't mean, here you are. See, I don't see anybody out there, but I get to hear you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. If I could respectfully ask next time to go before Carol and Tom, would be greatly appreciated, as my presentation will pale in comparison to that. And I'd like to say congratulations to both of you. Okay, first and foremost, I want to tell you how incredibly honored I am to be speaking to you this afternoon. Having recently served as your service area lieutenant, I have had the pleasure of interacting and working with numerous city commissions, our residents, neighborhood watch groups, the business community, the Chamber of Commerce, the City Council, and the city management team. And I am ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic to have been chosen as your captain. There was quite a process. There were 6 individuals that interviewed for the position, and at the end of it all, I was chosen. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. That said, I am both incredibly thrilled and humbled to have been chosen. I've already started working on new innovative ideas in keeping our city safe. And I'd like to share with you some of the operations we have conducted during this past month, for the month of April. We've conducted 4 traffic enforcement operations, which have included distracted driving and driving while intoxicated. These operations resulted in 110 citations issued, 5 vehicles stored, and numerous arrests for driving under the influence of alcohol or narcotics. We have served 3 narcotic search warrants and have yielded 5 arrests and the recovery of 1.5 pounds of fentanyl, also heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, and ecstasy. And when one puts the fentanyl seizure into perspective, the amount seized is equal to 680,388 milligrams. And when you consider that the lethal dose of 2 milligrams, the amount of fentanyl was enough to overdose 340,000 people.
340,000 people.
That's correct. Wow. So to put that in perspective, our narcotics crew, your narcotics crew, is doing an incredible job in the city of West Hollywood. I'd like to further add, as a popular tourist destination, the city of West Hollywood remains a very safe place to live, work, and to visit. When comparing and contrasting April 2018 and to 2019, there are several areas where our crime rate is down. Crimes against persons are down 12.9%. Robberies are down 25.5%. Residential burglaries are down 29%. Auto theft is down 6%, by 6.6% to be exact. And arson is down 50%. And although we are trending positively in crime reduction, crime rates were up in a number of areas, specifically larcenies. Grand theft was up 19%, and the grand thefts can largely be attributed to the theft of wallets and cell phones from bars and nightclubs. Vehicle burglaries are up 41%, with the majority occurring in parking lots and parking lots around the city. Petty theft is up 9%, and that is largely attributed to shoplifting from our stores. We are continuing our efforts in these areas with saturation operations, redistribution of overtime personnel, joint operations, and information sharing with neighboring law enforcement agencies that we share boundaries with, specifically Hollywood Division, LAPD, Wilshire Division, West Los Angeles Division, Beverly Hills PD, and in some instances, Santa Monica PD. Our deputy personnel have done an incredible job toward keeping our community safe. Station morale is incredibly high. My deputies have been more active, assertive, and I've taken great pride in their work. In fact, for the month of April, the arrests are the highest they've been in the city of West Hollywood since March of 2013, where we had 305 arrests. Last month, West Hollywood Station deputies arrested, they had 329 arrests, so they've been pretty active in ensuring that our community and our streets are safe. In closing, I'd like to add that many of my deputies drive a long distance to come here. Many of them live in Corona, Santa Clarita, Palmdale, and Lancaster. And they're here because they're dedicated to serving our wonderful and diverse community. And I'm very, very proud of them, and you should be as well. And I'm open to take any questions you may have.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah. I first want to thank you for your service, and I've been to a couple of city council meetings, and you really have given good updates on the community. So thank you for that. I have a question about the homeless. Is the any records of, has the homeless increased or has it decreased? And picking them up, I hate to say picking them up, but has that gotten better?
Well, we have seen an increase in some homeless in the city of West Hollywood. When I say some homeless, I mean new faces to us. Our deputies know our regular personnel quite well. We see new faces. We will always attempt to provide services for our homeless people in the city of West Hollywood. We will ask once, we'll ask twice, we'll ask 10 different times. That said, there is a criminal element within our homeless community, and we will deal with them, and we have dealt with them in the past, and we'll continue to do so. We choose not to, but in some instances, especially with our criminal homeless, we will continue to cite and arrest them.
Thank you.
I would like to have you fill in a bit more for us the arrest concerning the pound of fentanyl. Was that from a residence? Tell us a bit more about that.
That fentanyl arrest actually came as a result of a tip that we had from somebody, and that led to the further information was developed, and what we did was we served a search warrant at a residence that was outside the city of West Hollywood. However, the direct nexus was the person had been dealing narcotics within the city of West Hollywood.
Thank you.
And it's still an ongoing case, so I'm limited in what I can discuss.
I'm an immigrant from former Russia. When we came here, we were so frustrated, we did not understand your rules and everything, and very, very afraid of every policeman they saw. So when I see this situation, I have asked the policeman, please make for us special courses and teach us what does it mean to live in America with your rules new. And you did so big job. You gave us for a month almost every day lectures. You came from every one of us, took us by your auto, and we get this education. We were so happy after that. I wrote about that in a book, The Older the fiddle, the better the moon, the mind. So I can give you this book, and let it be in your office. And all of us, immigrants, are very, very thankful for your job. Then, when I decided to make our teen center, I found out that we immigrants can't give them the real rules how to behave. So I came to your people and asked, please help us. Every day, one of your policemen came to our Plummer Park and worked for more than 2 years with children from 8, 9, 10, 12 years. And so we have such a beautiful, the best teen center in West Hollywood because of your help.
Thank you, Sophia. And thank you, Captain Ramirez.
Thank you very much.
And let's move on to item 9F. Little do you know, Stuart Procise, that you are item 9F, but you are, and you're going to give us our next WeHo story. I was tipped off.
And before I start, I want to tell Miss Cook here that you are an inspiration. I mean, watching your sense of humor, seeing you up here, I mean, I just was floored. I think you're wonderful. And I think your attitude is wonderful, which probably has something to do with your young life. So I just wanted to let you know that before I start. Anyway, I want to thank the advisory board for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank especially Corey Roskin for all his emails, all his encouragement, and all he's done and said to me over the last month for me to be here today, which I'm proud to be, because we all have our stories. And a lot of people have no one to tell their story to. This is just one story, of course, because I've lived longer than 29 years, I think you know. But still, I mean, it's something for someone to be willing to hear about it. And I want to thank you for that. Anyway, Schubert and I were gay partners who lived together for 29 years, from January 1982 until January 2011, when he died. We met on December 31st of 1981 at Studio One in what was later part of West Hollywood, which is very close to here. Studio One was the big gay disco at that time, and people enjoyed going there to dance, possibly to drink, and to meet new people. I went there alone, and Schubert went there with a friend to dance that night. Less than 2 hours before the new year of 1982 began, Schubert happened to look my way. He then asked me to dance, and I went home with him that night when the place closed, and after going to his home for several nights, one night he asked me if I wanted to be involved and move in with him. He also analyzed me and said he believed I was a home builder rather than just an excitement seeker. He was right. I am basically a cautious person and had never lived with another man in a gay relationship despite being out for a number of years. We had a good relationship for 29 years. Nothing is perfect, but I think when I see what I had and I see what so many other people have had, I think I was very fortunate. And anyway, we just had each other. We had no kids. We had no pets. And our backgrounds were totally different. He was an Armenian from Iran who came to this country long before the revolution. His mother named him Schubert, by the way, after the composer Schubert upon hearing Ave Maria. And one more thing about him coming to this country, when he was a boy, his grandmother worked at what was the American Embassy, which was later ransacked and overthrown. But he saw all these Americans, his grandmother spoke English, and he saw all these Americans speaking to his grandmother and how they lived and how they acted. And he decided then he wanted to come to America a long time ago. I came from an Anglo-Saxon type of background, and I lived in a number of places before I came here in 1980. We were registered with the state as domestic partners since gay marriage was not allowed then. I don't know if we would have ever been married or not, I can't say. I never figured I would go before him. I never figured he would go before me, because unlike this lady right here, my attitude about aging was not always very good. And he always had a great attitude about aging. He would always tell me, well, it's just a number. And all the ladies that were much older than him before he died, he would go and encourage them. He would be kind to them, especially listen to them. And when they were said, oh, I'm this age and I'm that age, he would say, oh, just reverse the number. Since he died of lung cancer, I still think about him every day, 8 years later, and compare him to other people, which is not always good, I guess. but unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. But thank you very much for letting me speak today.
Thank you. We are moving on to 9G. Francisco Contreras, where are you? Hi.
Right here, thank you.
Francisco is going to talk to us about these fascinatingly wonderful bus stops.
Yes, and I have a presentation for you on the screen as well. So
Great. We
hopefully you
had
can
better
see it.
turn around, huh?
Yeah.
Francisco?
Yes.
I think you might be able to view it on your screens
On your
over there. Do you
monitors?
see the image on your screens? No? Is there a way to get them on the?
Yeah, it should be the same as in the large screen.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'll introduce myself. My name is Francisco Contreras. I'm the Innovation Manager for the City of West Hollywood. And I also wanted to congratulate you on your great work. And in fact, this is a project that you had a couple of your board members represented on our Street Media Design Committee. So just showing you just another bit of how much your work actually goes into shaping what happens actually in the city itself. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our smart city bus shelters. So this was an exploration of how we can start to introduce not only new technology, but new amenities into the public right-of-way in order to make not only transit enhancements and hopefully improve transit ridership in our community, but also an opportunity to enliven our streetscape and provide some wonderful amenities for our pedestrians and visitors. So what you see here on the screen is sort of our preliminary draft renderings of a bus shelter that incorporates new technology, including USB charging ports for people to charge their phones. We have free Wi-Fi that's now being provided at these bus shelters for visitors and for residents alike. There is a real-time bus arrival display, which actually provides people with when the next bus is coming. So you no longer have to rely on your phone or an old timetable. The bus shelter will actually tell you when the next bus is coming on a screen. And for some of us that are visually impaired, we also have a button that you can press that will actually audibly tell you when the next bus will be arriving. So that's actually one of the recommendations that came from our representatives, Pat Dixon, our primary representative, and Esther Baum as alternate. Some other amenities, we do have signage for public service announcements, as well as some wonderful lighting features that I will demonstrate in a second. Here is the prototype bus shelter that was assembled this was in Paris, France, which is where our partner company is located. And here they were basically assembling and making sure that all the pieces fit before they brought them over to West Hollywood. Here you see the underside of the bus shelter, which sort of shows a really beautiful like underside lit canopy, which at nighttime shows a really wonderful display of light. Here is the shelter at night. So you see sort of that really wonderful sort of celestial canopy on the underside, which provides really great lighting for folks waiting for the bus at night, and also just great lighting for pedestrians in and around the shelter. There's that lit edge at the very front of the shelter, and that's actually programmable, so we can change the colors from white to blue to any color that we can choose. So we can actually paint the whole city a particular color, either in celebration of a particular month or just in order to brand the city. So here it is in a different color. So we brought it from Paris to install it in West Hollywood. So now our first installation is not so far here at Santa Monica and San Vicente. And so here you see the crew installing all the different pieces. Here it is during assembly. Here is just a little snapshot of that digital screen that actually shows when the next buses will arrive. Here is basically the bus shelter in place, basically with all the components ready to go. And here is sort of a night shot. It's not a rendering, that's actually a real shot of the actual shelter at night. This is a snapshot of the button that you can press in order to hear when the next bus is arriving. And then to the right of that button, if you lift up that little lever, you'll actually be able to plug in your cell phone in order to charge your smartphone. In addition to the bus shelter, we also explored adding, and here's just an underside of that canopy again, just a closer shot. We're introducing these sort of bus stop kiosk, and so we wanted to make sure that we introduced all those wonderful features in areas where we couldn't fit a bus shelter. So where we have limited sidewalk space or limited width, or where we couldn't actually provide a shelter, we wanted to make sure to introduce these kiosks in order to bring those amenities to those stops as well. So we have the same amenities as in the previous larger shelters. So we have the USB charging ports, free Wi-Fi, the next bus arrival screens, the push button notifications, as well as the edge lighting, etc. So that, again, we start to build a network to make not only transit ridership enhancements, but also just enliven our pedestrian environment. So here you see one of the installations that is across from City Hall over in Sweetser in Santa Monica. Right next to it, you'll see also one of the new designed benches that will also be installed wherever we have space availability. So these will be replacing our existing benches throughout the city. Here it is sort of now that it's activated with the screens activated and with our public service poster installed. Just another look, here's sort of like just the backside looking towards City Hall. Here it is with the public service announcement. And again, we have these beautiful lighting fixtures underneath as well, and as well as the lit edge lighting. So we are currently now, we've given the green light for our partner, which is Outfront Deco, to start manufacturing the rest of the shelters and the kiosks. So we're hoping to have all of those ready to go and start installation by the end of the year. So it just takes a little bit of time to get those manufactured and fabricated and then assembled, and we should, by the end of the year, hopefully start implementing citywide. So, thank you.
To your knowledge, Mr. Contreras, is West Hollywood the only city with these high-tech bus shelters?
We sure are definitely in Los Angeles County. These are actually bespoke, tailored to West Hollywood. We partnered with not only Outfront Deco, but an architecture firm named Gensler, which is a really well-renowned architecture firm. So this is exclusively designed for West Hollywood. And we're one of the first cities, probably in the country, definitely for sure in California, to have this much technology integrated into a bus shelter.
Is this on? Okay, I think it's great. I think you did a wonderful job, because I know we used to meet every month and different ideas would flow through. Now, I'm curious, I see some of these bus stops that have a theme, like there's one that has their theater seats, and then one has baseball. Is that temporary? Is that going to be part of the new bus system?
Yeah, those are temporary creative advertising campaigns.
Great.
And so our partners, Outfront Deco, they do approach us in order to do these sort of month-long activations. And so they've been very successful, and they want to continue partnering with us in order to make more of those happen. And we think it's just a great way to really sort of just pique people's interest. And they're really creative, so they're really just wonderful ways to get people excited about those projects.
I mean, I stopped my car and I was taking pictures because I couldn't believe it was actually happening. Because I'd never found out what happened with all those meetings. But I think you did a great job, and I just love them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bill, you have a question?
Yes. Who owns the bus stops?
So the bus stops are actually owned by by Outfront Deco, by our partner Outfront Deco.
Okay. So does the city have to pay anything towards them?
No, actually, that was part of our agreement. So these came at no expense to the city, including all of the different technology components, all the Wi-Fi amenities. So it was in exchange for exclusive right to advertising on those bus shelters.
Great, thank you very much.
John?
Real quick, was there something for the Braille, any kind of Braille pad that they can touch?
Yes, there's also, there'll be, not shown in that particular slide, but we have Braille next to the push button so that they can actually audibly hear, and also right underneath the area where you can actually lift up to charge your phone. So we do have Braille at those locations.
Oh, good.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope so. Yes, please do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we move on to item 9H, to a wonderful friend of West Hollywood and of this board, Barbara Meltzer, who is going to read our next and last senior story. Welcome.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. I would like to just say to Tom, or about Tom and Carol, that tomorrow they're going to be honored by the LA County Commission for Older Adults and the LA County Board of Supervisors. So I will see you tomorrow. So my story, I wrote about something that absolutely terrified me, and I thought it was important to put on paper. So also, it kind of made a big difference in my life, and I hope it does in yours. I have never wanted, is this good? Am I good here? Okay. I have never wanted to be an entertainer and still get nervous when I speak to groups. Appearing foolish is one of my greatest fears, but I have always believed that somewhere inside of me, the little girl who was shy, quiet, and not very playful was longing to be set free. In a moment of vulnerability, I revealed this to my friend Paul Sand, who happens to be an original member of Chicago's The Second City improvisational comedy group. He suggested that I take an improv class and recommended Aretha Sills, the daughter of Second City founder Paul Sills and granddaughter of Viola Spolin, the originator of theater games. And so there I was in a studio on what started out as an average Saturday morning, walking around, flapping my arms and cooing as I gamely tried to transform myself into a mourning dove. I had decided to take Aretha Sills' weekend intensive improvisation workshop and was playing a game called Animal Images. Why am I here, I wondered, as I flapped and cooed, and that was before I started conversing in gibberish. So many opportunities to look foolish, I thought, but with trepidation and a dose of courage, I jumped in, feet first, literally, into Aretha's class. We were a multi-generational group of 15 people called players in improv lingo. I was the oldest and the only first-timer. Improvisation is all about spontaneity and being in the moment. There's no script and nothing to memorize. As an example, in one game, Aretha directed 3 players to be seated in the middle of the room. 2 would speak in gibberish. The 3rd person had the difficult job of translating. It was very funny, and while the words meant nothing, it fascinated me to see how much body language and tone suggested a story. While trying not to compare myself to others, which is one of my greatest skills, I participated in everything. In improv, there is no right or wrong, no good or bad. Soon one begins to feel safe. By the 2nd day of the weekend workshop, I sensed the little box opening, and before I knew it, freedom flew out, and foolish had transformed into playful. Spolin said that playing these games is a sort of vacation from one's everyday self and the routine of everyday living. She's right about that, but it's so much more. Though exhausted after 6 hours a day, 1 for lunch, of playing, I felt myself swelling with pride and eager to share my story with others. I was already thinking about starting an improv group in my city. Many of the players knew each other and had formed a community. I could feel myself being drawn into it, and it was a lovely feeling. One player said, "Improv opens your child mind. It's like recess." Also, the spontaneity of improv somehow enables folks to be less fearful of the unknown and to more readily see solutions for real-life experiences. I will be taking more improv classes. Though the fear still lingers, the new Barbara is eager to play. Or as Spolin has said, get out of your head, into the space, and await the invisible stranger. Thanks to Aretha Still's class, I found the stranger, and she happens to be me.
Joy, I just want to mention real quickly, there are some copies of Senior Moments out in front, although if they run out, we have them all online. So if anybody is watching, wants to view it on the WehoTV website, if you go to social services/seniors, you can click on the whole publication and you could read all the stories. You could see a great picture of Barbara in her improv class there as well. So.
Great. I have not received any additional forms for public comment, so I'm going to move on to item number 11, items from the board. And instead of starting down there with Esther, I'm going to go the other end. Michael Hollingsworth, do you have any items you wish for the rest of us to know about?
No, I just wanted to add one more thing to the comments that the seniors were allowed to say earlier. Also, West Hollywood has one of the most fantastic recovery, what's the word I'm looking for?
Center.
Pardon me?
Center.
Centers in this whole county, and they do a lot to support people that are trying to get free from addiction and alcoholism, and it's wonderful and it helps so many people. Thank you.
Bill.
Yes, all I'd like to do is remind people about next Tuesday, Senior in Action. It really is a lot of fun and very interesting. It's always different, and I have met a couple incredible people I've become close with since attending it.
Hi, last Saturday, I attended the Hollywood Food Coalition, and it's an interesting group. They feed people every single night. At on the weekends, it's around Romaine and Santa Monica, and everything is done by volunteers. And so they actually need money and they need volunteers. And it's, as a senior, when I first got on the board, my image was that as seniors, we should kind of give more, volunteer at different places, interact with younger people. And this is one way. They cook at the Salvation Army. Okay, that's where they cook, but they have nothing to do with them on any religious level. Salvation Army has given them the kitchen to cook. So you could either cook for them or donate or volunteer, or you can feed people. They feed every single night. People get a meal, a hot meal. So I'm trying to push that organization. And it's like Project Angel Food in the old days. To me, that's what it felt like. Thank you.
I'm going to skip me and jump to John.
Okay, I again want to thank Carol and Tom for their inspiration. It gives us all such inspiration. Thank you. Second, there's a Pride kickoff tonight. There's a poetry reading at 6:30, a reception, and then at 7:30, a reading of the stage play, Dear Harvey, talking about the political icon who did so many outstanding things, and I will be participating in that as one of the readers. So if you're watching, or come on down, 6:30, 7:30 tonight, or watch it on TV, and thank you, the viewing public. I appreciate you watching this. I want to applaud the city at the last council meeting where they are pushing for that eviction agency. San Francisco has it, New York, LA, so it'd be great if we have that for the eviction process. And thank you to Corey and Leslie for their work throughout the year. It really keeps us going, and they're an inspiration too. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to say that in more of the remarks that I made earlier, all of you can appreciate the things that are being done in this city for the various communities in the way of presentations, opportunities, services, everything that makes this city something very special. And I constantly remind myself that there is a reason that I live in West Hollywood, besides the fact that it's halfway between point A and point B, and that is I like to live here because there are things to do and the city makes them happen. And for a shameless plug, I will note that in August of this year will be the World Pride 50th anniversary and the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. And to that end, some 10 or 11 LGBT choruses are going to New York, including that of Los Angeles, and we are going to be singing in Carnegie Hall on the 27th of June. We will be singing in Carnegie Hall an 8 movement commissioned work. And to that end, I notice that I will not be here on the 26th, the day before, for the senior meeting because we're going to be in New York rehearsing that performance. So I'm sorry, but I will not be here. But I'll be thinking of you.
Accept your absence because of Carnegie Hall.
I
Big
think
time.
that's a pretty good reason.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sophia?
Sophia.
I was just
As
going to tell
you
that
see,
joke.
I am here the only immigrant. When I came 27 years ago, I was so frustrated without my job, without everything I lost. And I saw that everything you could done for us immigrants, it was so perfectional, it was so nicely. You were like dear friends. So when you ask me, what can we do for you? I have asked myself what I can do for you. And you recommended me to be a volunteer, to help people. So I attended courses on fountain for 5 days. And then they sent me to a person who was very, very old, and her mother could not, her daughter could not take care of her. She worked. She asked someone to be with her. When I came, and she told, I don't need anyone, go away. I will be alone. But I asked her, what can I do for you? I don't ask what you can do for me. I want to ask you, how can I help you? Because I don't know English, please help me with it. She became so happy, and I worked with her a long time. My English was improved, and somehow, because of you, gave us ESL classes, a class for writing, for everything. I became a writer. My book is awarded. I became a poet. I'm in Who is a Who in American poetry. And do you see, I even didn't understand that I have to wait and from your book read my poem. Thank you, Cory, for helping us to be here and to succeed. I became, because of you, a celebrity in West Hollywood.
And?
Because of you, you make me. I did not know anything. I worked only like a doctor, a neurologist. I did not know how can I write a poem. Never ever in my life in Russian. And here I became in Who is Who. Thank you, all of you, my dearest. You like my parents, like my best helpers. I am happy being with you.
And Esther, last but not least at all.
I brought 2 items up what seniors have spoken to me about, and I don't know if they've gone anywhere. One was to have dial-a-ride on the weekend, and the other was to limit the cost of living for seniors and handicapped to 2% maximum. And has either item gone to staff, to the city council, or just out in the air?
We better ask our staff for a report, and since you bring it up, that's where we move to item 12, item from the staff. But I don't want to cut you off. Esther, were you finished with your comment, your questions? I think the answer was yes. Okay. Items from staff. That's item 12.
We have no items to add to the meeting. I'll just address Esther's questions about, was it City Line dial-a-ride?
Uh-huh.
Dial-a-ride.
Weekend
on the weekends,
dial-a-ride.
right, and also the 2% cap. We have shared those interests with the appropriate staff at City Hall, and we will come back at a future meeting with updates on both of those items.
Okay. Corey Roskin, anything?
I have nothing. Just
This is fine. We are happy you are well enough to be with us.
Thank you.
Your valuable present.
Thank you.
And it is time for us to adjourn to our next meeting, which will occur as Lee Walkup is entertaining folks at Carnegie Hall. We will be here on June 26th. We will miss you, Lee, and we hope that those of you who have stayed with us will join us for a reception after our adjournment. But I guess I better get my gavel. We're adjourning.